Under the Speaker's announced policy of January 7, 1997, and under the previous order of the House, the following members are recognized for 5 minutes each. Mr. Jones of North Carolina.
Mr. Speaker,
The gentleman from Texas.
I ask unanimous consent to claim the gentleman from North Carolina's time.
Without objection. Gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The big question is how history will play the current financial situation if all the great wealth accumulated in the last 10 years dissipates in a financial collapse. According to an article in the New Republic, Greenspan is not only held in high esteem on Wall Street, he is seen as godlike. One trader is quoted as saying, "When things go well, I hold Greenspan's picture between my hands and say, thank you. When things go poorly, I also take the photo in my hands and pray." Close quote. And he isn't alone on Wall Street in heaping praise on Greenspan. This comes as close to his idolatry as one can get. Alan Greenspan took over the Fed a few months before the stock market crash of October 1987. In the 10 years that Greenspan has headed the Fed, $2 trillion of new credit has been created as measured by M3. Banks threatened by bankruptcy in the early 1990s received generous assistance from the Fed policy of low interest rates and rapid credit expansion as a response to the recession of 1991. Fed funds rates were held at 3% for well over a year. This generous dose of Fed credit has fueled the 5-year super boom on Wall Street. We are endlessly told no inflation exists, but inflation is strictly and always a monetary phenomenon and not something that can be measured by a government consumer or producer price index. Even so, there currently is significant price inflation for the fancy homes throughout the country, especially in the New York and Connecticut areas influenced by the New York Financial Center. CEO compensation is astronomically high, while wages for the common man have been held in check. The cost of all entertainment is not cheap and rises constantly. Art prices are soaring as the price of tickets to athletic events. Buying stocks with a 1.8% dividend yield is not cheap. These prices are inflated. The cost of education, medicine, and general services are expensive and rising. In spite of government reports showing food prices are not rising, many constituents I talk to tell me food prices are always going up. It seems every family has difficulty compensating for the high cost of living, and taxes are always inflating. There is no doubt that many Americans know the salaries of the CEOs, athletes, and entertainers are astronomically high. The wages of the average working man, though, have not kept up. Workers feel poorer and resentment grows. Even with all of Wall Street's euphoria, Main Streeters still harbor deep concerns for their financial condition and the future of the country. Many families continue to find it difficult to pay their bills, and personal bankruptcies are at a record high at 1,400,000 per year. Downsizing of our large corporations continue as many manufacturers' jobs are sent overseas. This current financial bubble started in mid-1982. At that time, the money supply as measured by M3 was $2.4 trillion. Today, it's over $5.5 trillion. That's a lot of inflation, and money supply growth is currently accelerating. Although the money supply has been significantly increased in the past 16 years, and financial prices as well as other prices have gone up, government officials continue to try to reassure the American people that there is no inflation to worry about because price increases as measured by the government's CPI and PPI are not significantly rising. Stock prices, though, are greatly inflated. If we had an average valuation of the Dow Jones Industrials for the past 87 years as measured by the PE ratios, the Dow would be a mere 4,100 today, not over 9,000. And the Dow would be much lower yet if we took the average price to dividend ratio or the price to book ratio. The NASDAQ is now selling at 85 times earning. There is no doubt that most stock prices are grossly inflated and probably represent the greatest financial bubble known in history. A lot of foreign money has been used to buy our stocks, one of the consequences of computer-age financial technology and innovations. Our negative trade balance allows foreign governments to accumulate large amounts of our treasury debt. This serves to dampen the bad effect of our monetary inflation on domestic prices while providing reserves for foreign central banks to further expand their own credit. Think of this. Money can be borrowed in Japan at Depression-era rates of 1% and then reinvested here in the United States, either in more Treasury debt earning 5 or 6%, or reinvested in our stock market, which is currently climbing at a 20% annualized rate. This sounds like a perfect deal for today's speculators, but there is nothing that guarantees this process will continue for much longer. Perfect situations never last forever.
Gentleman's time.
I ask unanimous consent to extend my remarks.
Without objection.